a rising rate environment, which kind of seems to kind of slow the market down, kind of put everyone on eggshells. So there are really not many refis out there. So what does that mean? We're really going to have to focus on the purchase market. We have tour days out here for us. It's on Thursdays. I've always been focusing my book of business working with real estate agents and my sphere of influence. As we go out there, as of late, I see so many more of these mortgage brokers or mortgage bankers than ever before, because there's no refi. So now they're coming out and trying to invade these realtors, this real estate environment. So that being said, I've got to look for new ways to, get creative, be top of mind, and be in front of more people than ever before. And since I started working with Spider Media, it's really given me a huge advantage because what I've been doing is these email blasts with these videos. And these videos I do once a week with my real estate partners, and then I do once a month with my sphere of influence, past clients, so forth. What we've done just as of late, I did an email blast talking about the rising rate environment, the tax implications now with not being able to write off the seconds as they have in the past. So what we're doing is I said, hey, now more so than ever, if you're thinking of refinancing, you're going to have to do it sooner than later because rates, we're flirting with 5% on up to who knows where. And I have to reach more clients in less time, more than ever. So just this last email blast we sent out about 2,000 clients. It was last Friday, and since Friday, I've had six people say, yeah, we need to get our consolidated first and second, or we need to cash out. And it really has given me a huge advantage with my sphere of staying top of mind. And that's so important. And before I met Pat and working with Spider, I felt like I was just another face in the crowd, kind of getting lost. But, I'd run into people socially out at a restaurant. Hey, Jason, you're a movie star. You're really getting good at those videos. Keep them coming, guy. And I'm getting such positive feedback. I go on tour now with my real estate partners. They're just like, hey, thank you so much for sending me these market updates. Like the email blast I did to my real estate partners last week, stated income is coming back. Their loan to values aren't as high as I'd like to see them right now, but the banks are going in that direction. So I'm passing on this good news to my real estate partners, which in turn are passing it on to their clients. And it's keeping me on the cutting edge of information and being in front of people. And it really is giving me a competitive advantage. And I know the market, it's, forever changing, but I'm as competitive as anyone else. I'm always looking to be ahead of the pack. And these email blasts and these videos, it really makes a huge, huge impact. And it's keeping me ahead of the pack. And I have, my competitors are hating me right now because they're just like, gosh, how do you do this? Teach me your ways. And I'm like, well, and I kind of keep that part to myself because I don't want to share it with my other mortgage competitors. But I definitely appreciate what it's done for my business.
So Jason, this is an email I popped up here real quick. You want to walk them through, this specific example and the results it's yielded you, if any. I mean, this is your latest email blast I'm pulling up on the screen, right?
Yeah. So as what I'm looking at here, we were just saying now is the time to get your mortgage. Now is the time to get a mortgage before rates go higher. And the client I just talked with from this last week, he says, well, I'll get my paperwork to you when I can. And I emphasize, hey, whatever you can, I get it. But the longer you wait, the higher the rate. And that's kind of what I stressed in this video. And not to put fear or panic into clients as much as I was trying to just give them knowledge and let them know what's coming down the road. And so this video, I bought a little tripod. I've got my little teleprompter, and I have my fiance. She helps me edit some of these videos here. But the message that, again, that we're portraying is just, take advantage of the market today. But you can see in the video there, it's, let's see here.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Okay. Anyways, in that video, yeah. Again, I try to keep everything about a minute. because again, that's the key is people's attention span or time. They just don't have the time to sit there and listen to minutes or 5-minute dialogue. So I try to keep it quick, to the point, and call me for the custom quote. And it really does have a big impact. And I also, go ahead. Sorry, Pat.
No, go ahead. Keep going on your track. I just want to see what it converted into for you. Let's listen to the video first. I want to listen to the video first.
Around here. So it seems like 2018 is going to be the year that we see interest rates start to move up. That said, we are still near historical lows. The last time we saw interest rates start to move up was back in 2009, almost a full decade ago. In the last few months, I've had many of my borrowers reaching out to take care of that refinance that they've been putting off for the last year. It doesn't matter if you're looking for a purchase loan or if you're looking to do a cash out refinance to consolidate debt. Now is the time. The consensus for our industry is that rates are going to continue to move up as we get through the year. So I wouldn't put this off much longer if there's a mortgage loan in your near future. Even if you are increasing your rate, you still may be able to save hundreds of dollars with consolidating the debt along with the new tax management that's in place. Also, I wanted to mention, please be sure to ask me about ARMs. With fixed rates increasing, it may be time to explore them. These loans are almost a full % lower in some cases. And lastly, if you haven't already, you're going to start to receive some very aggressive marketing for refinances from these various mortgage companies out there. There's a lot of fraudulent marketing, even from our familiar banking institutions. So to protect you from fraud, if you receive any mail correspondence, advertisements, etc., regarding your mortgage, please contact me to verify. Being your best advocate, I will make sure you are getting the best possible rates and products available. So please call me anytime, and I look forward to talking to you soon. You take care.
Okay, now that was great, very, very well done, Jace. That was sent to your real estate agents, correct?
That one was actually sent to my database, my Sphere.
Right. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so this email you sent me right here. Go ahead. I'll let you speak.
So that I forwarded an email from Pat, and this was just one of the 5 that I received from this that last email blast that I sent out. And it was from Debbie, and basically hope all is well. Wanted to looking to consolidate in that home equity line of credit that we did for them a little while back. And so I've been talking with her. So that's another refinance. And even though we have a lower rate on the first, combining the two together with the rising rates on the second and losing that tax deduction, it makes it still beneficial to the client. And that's what we were trying to get across through to our borrowers. I was going to say also, you can track through Spider there how many opens you have, total click-throughs, and this only tracks people that are on computers. So on that last email blast, I had almost 500 people open up, like 483 people open up that email, and then total click-throughs was all over 50 that sat there and really watched it. And again, that's just from computers. So as I've gone through, as I look and see who did do the total click-throughs and watched it, I'm just going to put a follow-up email. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, just saw that you watched the whole video. Just wanted to make sure that you didn't have any questions or there isn't anything I can do to help you. So it's just, again, staying top of mind, staying in front of your clients. And all these tools are right here at one spot here at Spider. And it really has, like I said, it's a game changer. It's really helped my business, keeping me ahead of the pack. And again, I love, the header and the footer. It just, everything is just one spot. You can put it and click, send it out and get the results and look so polished. I think that's the other part is everyone says, gosh, what company are you paying thousands of dollars a month to do this? And we had a little bit of a learning curve, got through it, and here we are now. We look like pros, like we're a professional marketing company, and I'm spending thousands of dollars monthly to stay top of mind. So it's an awesome thing.
Right. So that's the perception is you're spending thousands, but $69 a month is what you're spending, right? So the conversation I had with Jason is that and Jason flat out told me, he's like, Pat, in a world where there many excuses can be made, in this case, inventory, especially in your market, the average transaction $700,000-$800,000, right? you know, and Jason said, Pat, in these markets, I'm going to do what I always have done. I'm going to dig my heels in. I'm going to take more action, not less. I'm going to turn over more rocks. And as it relates to the spider application, guys, I'm going to share this with you. This is why I'm not on the topic of internet marketing right now, which is definitely more rocks and more people. We're going to hit on that in just a minute. But you know, it is going into your database, because there's always money in the database. Show me a top producer and I'll show you somebody that works that database, adds value to that database, communicates with value to that database. And it's not just, you know, people think, oh, why are you doing so well? How are you able to get business? They're just doing the things that most people are taught but don't do. They just don't execute. And that's why I think the greatest message I can give to you guys is not just learning, but actually doing, executing, and taking action. And now I'm able to show you a tangible physical result from a client that just simply sent out a video email and he got a message back. Now, that said, I'm looking at this email from this woman. Now, again, he's in Danville, California. Although I don't want our interest rate for 30-year fixed to be higher than it is now, the HELOC rates are inching up. And with the new tax laws, the interest will no longer be tax deductible. Okay? Now, think about this. The new tax laws will no longer be tax deductible. Well, this is something, I'm going to go to Jason's website. Ironically, that woman sent that part of it in her email, right? So I'm going to Jason's website. I'm looking at this blog. And for those of you who we've built your website, you know that we're now blogging for you. There's a blog that I wrote that I put 12 hours of research into to really understanding, you know, what are the highlights? What are the things that people really need to know? And it's not a 2-paragraph answer, right? So, you know, it looks like it's posted by Jason. It was syndicated automatically to his social media. So his Facebook, his Twitter, and et cetera, his LinkedIn. And here's information on the taxes. Ironically, when that woman said, and I'm not sure if she read this. So, you know, Jason, this might be a good opportunity to actually send her a copy of your blog. Okay. Number one, it'll show her like, wow, this guy's really on top of things, you know? But if you look at this one particular section here, and not when I wrote it, I had it in red because I wanted people to see it. Home equity loans. The final bill repeals the deduction for interest paid on home equity debt through 2025. Interest is still deductible on home equity loans if the proceeds are used to substantially improve the residence. So it was kind of, you know, word got out that you couldn't do this. Or I've had actually people say you can no longer write off mortgage interest in this new tax bill. You know, Trump's this and Trump's that. You can't even write off mortgage, right? So I said, you know, well, I got to dive into this tax bill. My gosh, you know, but you know, that's baloney. You know what I mean? You can write off mortgage interest, right? Now it's up to $500,000 or $750,000 married filing jointly, and I think it's $1 million, or if you're married, I'm sorry, $500,000 if you're single, married filing single. But read this. I actually, you know what I have here, guys? For those of you who we did not build your website, I'm going to go ahead and give you this blog now. I have it on my Google Drive. I'm going to send it to you. I just sent it now. Let's see. Hang on. I just sent it to Tom. Let me send it to everybody. We got my Google. So you can use this, put it on your website if we didn't build your website, or put it on your Facebook, or just use it however you want. Let me grab this shareable link. Okay. Anyway, sharing settings. That way I don't have to give you permission. Anyone. Public on the web. Anyone. Okay, good. Now I don't have to give you permission. Okay. All right, so let me give this to you guys. Entire audience. Just confirm that you got it, guys. Okay. So what is that side? The other side of the business is actually talk about turning over more rocks and communicating. Now, Jason has, I don't know, 500-600 followers on his Facebook, his LinkedIn. He's got a Google ad going. He's got a Facebook ad running, right? So now he can actually just take that content that he didn't spend any time at all doing, look like a genius, and just simply do a boosted post with that, which is what I think Tanya's fiance did for him, right? She posted it on Facebook, right? But he's got all these things. He's got thousands of people in his local market seeing his face, seeing his brand, seeing his logo, and hearing a bit of content. And that's what creates top of mind awareness. That's why top people like Jason are top people year in and year out. Okay. So it's this whole circle of things. And does it take a lot of time? No. You know, Jason, how long did it take to shoot that video and put on your YouTube account? Honestly.
Yeah, I would say probably 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
from the beginning to end, total of 30 minutes. And, you know, depending on the script, that could be an additional 10, 15 minutes. I usually write the script and put it on my teleprompter, and then we fire away, and then we edit it. And literally probably 30 minutes tops. But on my weekly one that I do with my real estate partners, it's probably done in 20 minutes max. I mean, really, it goes that quick.
Yeah. So let's look at your dollar per hour, right? If you convert these 5 people, if you only convert one of those 5, which I know you and your sales ability, you'll probably convert 4, right? But even if it's just one, what would your average commission be on that, Jace?
You know, probably because we're here in California, the average loan size is generally, you know, a minimum of, you know, probably 600 on up to $1 million is the average. So, and the way we're getting paid now, average commission is probably 8,000 to 10,000.
Okay. So you took 45 minutes. Let's just call it an hour tops, right? You took the time to create an email. You sent it to a database, and even if you only close one, that's $8,000, right? So, show me an industry that has $1 per hour. Show me a heart surgeon that has $8,000 per hour. Okay, net income to him. Okay, or her. Salespeople, and the reason why people love this business is because when you're doing the right things and taking the right steps and doing the right activities, your dollar per hour is unlike any other industry out there. That's the attraction. But I think what happens is human beings, we get into ruts. You know, we get into not getting enough sleep, and then waking up tired, not hitting the gym. You know, and then when we're tired, we don't crave great food. So when there's a choice between something healthy and cinnamon toast crunch, we're eating cinnamon toast crunch, right? Then we go out, we found a pot of coffee because we're tired, we're exhausted, and then we go out there and we run that meeting with somebody that knows us, loves us, trusts us, that makes us feel comfortable. We're in our comfort zone, and maybe we go to a BNI meeting, right? Then we come back, we're tired, we sit there in front of emails, we're checking emails all day, doing low path activity, responding to calls, and being reactionary in all of our activities throughout the day. Not proactive, reactive, right? And when you do that and you find that habit, those people always sit back and say, man, I really want to do that video, but there's bags under my eyes, or I don't feel like doing it. I don't know what I'm going to say, et cetera, and so on and so forth. And we get into these cycles of mediocrity, you know. I actually brought on another guest that's going to be, that I'm going to unmute. Hopefully we can bring him on because we were having some audio problems earlier. Let me do a quick audio test with you, Joe. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
Sorry about the
technical difficulty this morning. Okay, so that's okay. There's, just so you know, because you're on via the computer now, when I bring you on to talk, mute your computer on your end so there's no echo. Okay, bud?
Will do.
Okay, because we're hearing double. So I'm going to bring Joe on, and the reason why I'm bringing Joe on, by the way, is because he has been an incredible coach and mentor to the real estate mortgage industry for a number of years. He and I built a multi-million-dollar organization together, and it was not on technology. This was back when I was traveling every single week, and we were teaching people the core fundamentals of excellence. And you know what? If you didn't do any Facebook ads, any AdWords, you didn't even have a website, you can make a couple $100,000 if you just, and I say a couple $100,000 minimum, if you just execute the fundamental things that make people great. And I'm going to bring Joe on to talk today about the core reasons why people fail, but also the core things that you guys need to be doing at the onset, the very first thing you need to be thinking about and doing on a daily basis. And I really appreciate, Joe, your time, because recently we've had a lot of conversations. I've gone on the technology side over the last 10 years of my life, and we really haven't touched base in a while until recently we started having dinners and talking about together what can we do to go to market with a blended approach where we're doing live events throughout the country that involves both the technology side of greatness, which we know is needed, that's why you guys are here, but also the soft skill side, the things that my mentor taught me, and our mentor was the same. That's how we met. Joe and I had the same mentor, and his name was also Joe. and that's what we're going to be doing here and starting in May. And you guys will have an opportunity. In fact, while I'm here and thinking about this, if any of you would like to see an event where myself and or Joe are going to come out there and do it in a lights out, first class, world class event that involves the fundamental best practices as well as technology, I'm committing the greatest live event ever in the industry, given by the most dynamic, energetic, and impactful speakers, as well as me. And I'm not going to include me into that introduction, but I am going to be hitting the road again in May, and I'm really excited about it. If any one of you has an interest in talking to Joe and I on Monday, Tuesday of next week about setting up an event in your local marketplace, just write the word event down. I don't care if you're a mortgage, real estate, whatever. We're going to reach out to you and we'll put something together and we'll really make this happen. So I do want to shift gears just for a second, okay? Because I am in Harbor Hills. I'm going to mute you, Jason. I'm in Harbor Hills Country Club in Florida. Okay, I'm in one of their rooms here doing this. I just flew in last night and got here about 45, 50 minutes ago. So, you know, and as I look at Harbor Hills, I've been working with them for about four years or so. And I just ducked into the Facebook ads that were running for them, right? And I look at these numbers, right? A company, right? Can you guys all hear me? Okay. And I'm just looking at, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 customers, there's 5, just Facebook alone. If you look at the results, right, 1,813 clicks at 33 cents a click, right, 3,744 clicks at 16 cents a click, right, 1,900, 1,200, one that was just run, you know, they won award for James Community of the Year, right, all these things, guys, these numbers, and grant, right, again, they're not an individual, they're a business, right, 6, 12, you know, $2,000 spent, right, over the last several weeks, right? What would cost? Number of reach, targeted people that are actually interested in a Florida retirement community, click on these links and watch videos and see photos. It's staggering. So let's just pull one of the ads up, right? All right, so just look at this one right here. So again, you see an ad, right? You have one with this house, then you got another one with another house. You know, we're split testing. We're taking a look at which one's generating the most results. And as you can see here, we'll probably pause this one. It's only getting 69. This one's gotten 1,000. So for whatever reason, I would have probably personally looked at this image and clicked on it, but you don't know. That's why you have to split test, right? So beautiful luxury. There's the inside of a beautiful home. So I'm actually here because the Parade of Homes is here, and they're just blowing up. These guys are absolutely blowing up. Are we the only reason? No, not at all. But we are a reason that a part of the reason why this company, this facility is growing leaps and bounds. They're the fastest growing retirement community in Florida. So you know, that said, you know, they're doing, again, reaffirms, they're doing the things that that I'm asking you guys to do on a regular and consistent basis. I told you, just do one Facebook ad, one AdWords campaign, you know. Let me just go back. If I look at this internet marketing step by step, okay, let me share this with you guys. Okay, this is the internet marketing step by step. You know, if you want to go back to internet marketing, let me just send you guys this real quick. I'm sending it to you in your chat box. I know a lot of people did respond that you got it. But if you look in your little GoToWebinar thing, you'll see these links. Okay. So that said, it's 11:33. I'm going to introduce to you a very serious business professional, what I feel is one of the best coaches in the world, and I don't say that lightly. He's taken people from less than six-figure income to multi-six-figure income year in and year out, year in and year out, year in and year out. And he's got an incredible talent, and he's an incredible person, an incredible father, incredible husband, and somebody that I've always wanted to be around. So I'm going to introduce to you, Joe, you there, bud? It looks like it's muted again on my end. You're going to have to unmute. Because I unmuted you, pal. Here's what I'm going to do. Okay. You there, Joe?
I am here. Good morning.
Hey, the floor is yours, buddy. You're on with everybody.
Well, very good. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to begin by thanking Pat for inviting me to participate on the call this morning. It is a little bit different for me in that I'm used to either a live audience or coaching one-on-one. So in this scenario, I'm just going to try to lay out some bullet points that I think will have the most impact for where you are and where you want to get to. And of course, I've got to take into account that each of you on this call are at a different place and a different level of production with your business. Last week, I was involved in a coaching call, and I had a client. She's an overachiever in every regard. She lives in Northern California, so her average sales price is tremendous. And the moment she got on the phone, it was evident just by her tonality and just by her voice inflection that she just wasn't herself. And what we came to learn as I qualified what was happening and dug in a little bit is that, we're 7 weeks into 2018, and her career in terms of production this year and the promises that she had committed to begin the year, kind of New Year's resolutions, if you will. And we worked together to craft her 2018 business plan. So it's very detailed. None of those things were coming to fruition with the level of momentum that she had expected. And that's really what I wanted to talk to this group about is this. As you know, real estate is an industry that is decades behind the rest of the sales profession. 80-20 does not apply in real estate. 90-10 does not apply in real estate. In this industry, 95% of the production is facilitated by 5% of the agents. There are 1.3 million licensed realtors, NAR members, that is. Average income for a full-time agent is less than $45,000 a year, and on average 2 transactions a year. Now, the reason I bring this up is because most of you right now are working in markets that are low inventory. And if you combine the fact that first, we're 7 weeks into 2018, and new habits and working off a solid schedule is a very difficult thing to condition yourself to, and then you look at the fact that some of the low-hanging fruit is gone because of the low inventory market, it becomes at times overwhelming for agents. And that feeling of being overwhelmed and the negative talk that is both between their ears and in their offices creates a lack of clarity that basically shoves everything aside. And as Pat said earlier in this call, it leads subconsciously almost to a level of paralysis and mediocrity that sabotages everything that you want so bad. Because you and I are in an industry where we have the privilege of serving and brokering what is for most American families the largest asset they will ever touch, which is their home and the equity therein. And we also know that when we run the business effectively, meaning we are working off a schedule every day, like every other professional is forced to do, and we understand the ROI and the dollar per hour that we can extract from each one of those activities, we win, and we have an opportunity to win to the extent that our goals want to win. For some of you in this room, you would be happy making $200,000-$300,000 a year. For others, you're chasing a 7-figure income and you're chasing elite status, if you will, because you know you've got the potential and you're having just a whole lot of fun. So all you want to do is scale, peak perform, and continue to take the business model and enhance it and drive that production, if you will. And so there's a few things that I wanted to dig into today. First, let's talk about that schedule. Pat mentioned dollar per hour earlier in this call, There's nothing more important, and for so many real estate agents, we forget it. Let's remember, real estate agents are independent contractors. That means we're not accountable to anybody. We have the independent ability to have all the wealth that we aspire to, and we also have the independent ability to have weeks and weeks of low activity and weeks of being in a rut, which sabotages us in a way that's almost criminal. All of you in this room, or I should say on this call, are aware of, in any given moment, whether your inner voice and your self-talk is driving you towards the activities, or if it's kind of making excuses and it's handicapping you, if you will. So the first thing I want to say is that if you are not working off a solid, realistic, well thought out and detailed business plan for 2018, huge mistake. Real estate is already a reactionary business. If you don't have that roadmap to hold yourself accountable to, we're just in really, really big trouble. This low inventory market, what does it do? It favors the mega producers. We all know that to list is to last. We all know that. Being a listing agent is where you ought to be in this business. It is the only mechanism that will deliver long-term duplicatable results, because every activity can be tracked. Right now, in a low inventory market, what's happening? You're not seeing the open houses that top producers are having, that the lower producers are able to hold open. You're not seeing all the floor calls and all the inbound activity because the yard signs and the lawns are diminished. With that said, there's still enormous opportunity, but we've got to make sure the schedule yields the dollar per hour that we're looking for. So I want to talk about right now this very set of activities that allow a real estate agent to earn income. We are a multifaceted professional. There's a lot of things that we're responsible for. We all know that. However, when you are involved in a customer service role or a filing role or any admin task, in fact, any task that doesn't align with the things that I'm about to go over with you, you lose. Because the market could never deliver to you a market value greater than what it would cost you to replace yourself in that role. So please think about that for a moment. If you are getting lost for multiple hours a day on paperwork or admin or getting prospect lists together or going through inspections, or when you do secure an appointment, the process to get your pre-listing package together or your buyer reports and buyer contract, all these things are taking too long because they're not streamlined. In any moment you're not involved in these activities we're about to talk about, you're earning at a rate that could be replaced by a competent administrative professional. And I think we all know the majority of administrative professionals in that role do not earn hundreds or millions of dollars a year. And a lot of agents lose track, and it's so easy to spend an entire day, sometimes without 1 hour spent on the activity that will actually drive the income that you're looking for. And so what you will find with me, I promise you, is I'm just very common sense, and I'm very to the point. The sales profession is a science. There are realtors everywhere. Business people who sell real estate are few and far between, which is why this is a 95-5 business. There are only a set number of activities that get you paid. If you are not happy right now in the moment, the 7 weeks into 2018, with the number of listings that you have, what your lead pipeline looks like, if you have inventory and it's not moving, that means we've got to talk about a price reduction. But the bottom line is, if you are not right now feeling the momentum you need to feel, it's purely a result of what your activity and your schedule looks like every day. Prospecting, follow-up, securing price reductions, securing or selling a listing, or working with a qualified buyer. With all of the dozens of things that real estate agents are responsible for, especially if you are not yet working with a team and you have not been able to leverage yourself and bring talent around you, it's amazing the number of things that we're responsible for. But these things are the only things that get you paid. Prospecting, following up on leads, price reductions, securing or selling one of your listings, or working with a qualified buyer. So depending on where you are in your business and the amount of income you want to earn, you can easily extrapolate once you understand the numbers and the rate of return, how often each one of these activities and at what rate need to be in your calendar to make sure that your income is now duplicatable instead of a roller coaster ride. And the things that Jason and Pat were talking about earlier, I want to start with that because obviously it falls under the prospecting category. There are many, many different forms of prospecting. Every top agent that I've ever worked with in 2 decades, your job is to choose the activities that mirror your personality and mirror what you can be passionate about. Certainly, you want to make sure you're leveraging the activities that have the best ROI, but you also have to be conscious of what your style is and what your personality is so that you set yourself up to win. Now, I'll give you an example. We all know that in today's day and age, having a digital presence, as it applies to the ads, as it applies to the blog posts, as it applies to the website curation and SEO, this is all critical. We live in a world where you and I curate our information. Twitter, why is Twitter amazing? Because it literally curates what it is that you get to see. You literally select to follow people you trust and respect in industries and verticals that you care about, and your news is curated. Facebook is the same way. Podcasts now are becoming enormous. Why? Because you have an opportunity to curate and bring into your world and into your mind only the things that you care about. So what Jason and Pat were speaking about in terms of getting that information in the hands and in front of the individuals in your center of influence and that you want to build long-term relationships with is absolutely critical. It can also be overwhelming, which is why having mentorship and really being strategic on how you want to do that is so critical. Otherwise, again, you'll be lost in the weeds. Much of what Pat is talking about, if you think about it, if you're an agent that's been around for a while, it's digital farming. I mean, agents for generations have farmed. They've sent out, maybe it's 3,000 postcards a quarter, maybe it's 3,000 a month, always in the area that they want to build top of mind awareness. And if they're following through, hopefully there's a follow-up call that goes along with that postcard, so they have an opportunity to have a real conversation. So prospecting, first, what is your campaign going to be to build that top of line awareness? To what degree will you, and let me just say, incorporate the old school, which means dialing the phone, building rapport, having conversations? To what degree will you incorporate what I'll call the new school, which is the digital world? And are you building a funnel that will allow you to take the old school and leverage the investment that you're making in the new school by driving the rate of return and obviously driving what the lead to close ratio is going to be? I'm going to leave the tech stuff kind of to the side because that's been talked about a lot today. And I'm going to dive into what I just said, which is the different categories of prospecting and finding something that works for you. I have a client in Boise, Idaho, does over 100 transactions a year. If you want to talk about personality, this individual loves expireds. He's addicted to expired, canceled, and withdrawn calls because A, they have been so good for his business, and B, he can track how many times he has to dial the phone, working that category of business to get a qualified lead, and how many qualified leads it takes to turn into a listing appointment, then obviously a listing. The reason I use this as a great example is because although there are some agents out there that continue to love FSBO calls, expired calls, canceled calls, there are just as many that abhor the activity, that have never quite developed the stomach, if you will, or the thick skin for that type of a phone call and a skill set to align to overcome the objections and to actually provide value in such a way that seller allows for you to come over and deliver a listing presentation. And hopefully you'll have the opportunity to dig into motivation and why and to serve them. So you've got to pick what it is that is important to you. The most, by any stretch, the most profitable activity that you can be involved in every day, and I would hope that all of you decide, if you're not doing it already, to spend at least an hour a day, 1 hour a day, always in the morning, reaching out to your past clients and your center of influence. Every person you know is aware of 2 to 3 transactions a year. That's down market, up market, buyer's market, low inventory market. 2 to 3 transactions a year. If you are serving right now in a buyer's market, in a low inventory market, we've already talked about the fact that the low-hanging fruit is gone. And listings and getting out there and having conversations it's just critical. They're aware of 2 to 3 transactions every single year, and you will generate 1 qualified lead that pays you for every 5 to 8 for every 5 to 8 conversations you have, for every 5 to 8 contacts. So let me dig into that for a second. There are 2 reasons. I don't want to just talk about what the best practice is. Let's talk about exactly how to do it and why it's an activity that for some is easy to procrastinate on and easy to kind of leave by the wayside. First, when it comes to calling past clients and center of influence, by design, by definition, that means you have to have these people. So for newer agents, that's a difficult thing. Newer agents don't have a large database. Newer agents don't have years and years of transaction history to leverage and people that you worked with 5, 6 years ago coming back around again, etc. So number one, we have to look at other forms of prospecting if you don't have a database that you can leverage. So that's first. Secondly, when it comes to veteran agents who do have these individuals who understand the value of reaching out and being a resource, why don't they do it? And the answer almost always is twofold. One is poor organization, and there just isn't a system set up that gets them at their desk in the morning. Here are the people they're supposed to call. Here's why they're supposed to call. Here's what they're going to say. So first is that organization. And the second piece, candidly, is what you're going to say. A lot of agents literally feel, even though you're talking to somebody in your center of influence, somebody that you know well, remember what happens when there's a transaction. Everybody is happy. When you're buying a home or selling a home, you and I as real estate professionals are literally a part of that family. I mean, we're spending hours and hours with them. To say again, we're handling what is for most families the largest part of their financial portfolio, which is that home and the equity therein. We typically know what the family is up to. And if their kids play Little League or hockey or lacrosse or softball, it's a very intimate thing. But then when it comes to the transaction being over and time passing, because most agents don't follow up, there becomes this wall about doing so. You had this close, tight relationship, you never followed up, and now you're sure that the client is sure that the only thing you cared about the entire time was the commission. Because how did you go from such intensity to nothing? Secondly, even agents that don't have that particular fear often think that they're bothering and pestering when they're making follow-up calls. They feel like they're bothering and pestering and not providing value. They feel like everything is about them. They are calling, they are intruding on someone else's time to talk about their business. And I submit to you that that could not be further from the truth. You and I, the way that we build our families, we are centered on the professionals in our lives that serve us and have certain capacities within our lives, whether it be our physicians, our accountants, our attorneys. And guess what? When it comes to real estate, and again, that asset and how dynamic this market is, especially with all the changes that are happening right now and how personal this market is, a real estate agent who chooses to be a professional and provide value will always be able to do so. And candidly, and I say this with all due respect and affection, if you are one of those individuals that have what I call low self-esteem about the industry that you've chosen, then you should find something else to do, because you will never embrace the skill set and take personal responsibility for serving at a high level, executing daily on the right activities, and thereby winning for you and your family the way that you wish. As you all know, in some communities, realtors have a lower professional reputation, if you will. When people talk about realtors, sometimes they literally put us below used car salespeople. And I submit to you, when we're a 95.5 business, and most real estate agents do not follow up. Most real estate agents do not stay in contact. Most real estate agents are transactional advice, relationship oriented. Most real estate agents will overprice a listing because they're not running their business effectively, which means they do not have inventory, which means they're attached to the outcome, and they've got to take that listing advice, educate the seller on what the market is doing, because that listing means you're still in the game. Whether it is that you secure a price reduction 3 months down the road when you should have had the integrity to educate them right off the bat, or whether it be that listing inventory drives for you a buyer and income is achieved as a result of a buyer, whether they buy that piece of inventory or not. In most cases, they don't because it's overpriced, but still that buyer keeps the agent in the game. And so these are just some of the reasons why our industry isn't perceived with the level of credibility, candidly, that it ought to be. As Pat said earlier in this call, salespeople are the highest paid people on the planet. Salespeople always earn a multi-six-figure income if they are simply working 40 hours a week like the rest of the world, but in those 40 hours they are focused and they're holding themselves accountable to the right activities. So the first thing I would say to you when it comes to reaching out, 2 to 3 contacts a day to the people that you've worked with and the people that know you, and understand that if you're willing to look at the market data and provide value, then these individuals, they want you there. And I will give you a quick example, and hopefully this helps. You know, there's a trainer out there that doesn't teach students, meaning clients, meaning real estate agents, to be a professional and always put the business first and why you are there and how you want to serve them. He kind of throws that to the side, and what he espouses is, why don't you get on the phone and, just talk and catch up and gossip a little bit, but then before you get off the phone, make sure you always say, oh, by the way, if you happen to know of anybody that's going to buy or sell, please send them my way. I would think and hope that all of you on this call would recognize that if somebody did that to you, if somebody called you on your cell phone or at home and spent 5 to 10 minutes talking about you, your family, your career, how are things catching up, et cetera, and right before they got off that call, they pulled that, oh, by the way, you would feel tainted and you would feel used. Because it's an absolutely absurd way to approach someone that you care about and that you want to serve. What I would encourage you to do is understand the numbers in your market, decide, again, based on your dollar per hour that you want and based upon what level of activity you want to pursue, how many of these individuals will you contact every day? And don't make it overwhelming. Maybe it's 3 contacts a day. As you know, you're going to have to dial the phone 14, 15, 16 times to get 3 contacts. Voicemails do not count as contacts. So you're going to need that data ready for you so that you don't go into serve mode, you don't go into prospecting mode and end up in that admin task and kind of eat up that time that you would set aside. What the best of the best do in every market is they reach out every 45 or every 60 days. In your case, because of spider media and the things that you're already doing right with getting content out into the universe, you even have something to follow up on and to talk about. So there's 2 ways to handle it. You either keep it generic and talk about the market. You follow me? You would call up and you would say, John, I just wanted to give you a quick shout this morning. As you know, we're a little more than halfway through the first quarter. The market is dynamic as always, although we are very low inventory. To be candid, I've set some very aggressive goals this year for my business, and it all depends upon the number of people I can serve, the number of people I can meet, and candidly, the number of people that I can help. And I just wanted to reach out and a couple things. First, ask you a question. Is there any information that I can get you? Whether it be, what's the average sales price so far this quarter? How many transactions have occurred? If there's a transaction that's happened in your neighborhood, you've got some questions, I'm happy to do the due diligence there for you. So the first piece is, obviously, you have that home, you have this asset. If there's anything real estate related I could answer for you, let me know. If I don't have the answer right now, I will call you back within the hour. Secondly, is there anybody that you know that you have heard talk about real estate that I can reach out to and at least get in their hands the education and get in their hands some of the information that they're going to need to make a wise decision? So that's one way to do that. Please come to Scripts and Dialogue that it's all about your style and your personality. As long as you understand what you're going to say and why you're going to say it, you get to use your own style, which means you're going to be comfortable. Of course, the second piece is when you do a blog post like what Jason did, it was a fantastic blog post. It goes out. You obviously are going to have a record of the individuals that clicked on it and saw it, and that gives you an opportunity, not every day or not every week, but every 45 to 60 days, they need to show up on your call list so you can follow up on that blog post and you can generate active, not only active top-of-mind awareness, but actually you got to ask for the business. Salespeople have got to ask for the business. So that's that piece. Expireds, canceled, and withdrawals. I think all of you are very well familiar with that piece of business. In a low inventory market, it's obviously harder because more people are calling, and if they're not selling, that means they're even more overpriced than usual. However, you will still obviously develop a dollar per hour that's huge if you choose to become great at that activity. The next drop down were a lot of agents that are new. So talk to my newer agents right now. It's a massive opportunity for you, is just listed and just sold. Just listed and just sold calls are immense because there's credibility and value built right into the dialogue. And hear me loudly when I say this. It does not matter whose listing or whose sale it is. We don't impugn any ethics and we don't compromise our integrity by seeing a property that has sold in a neighborhood that we covet and deciding to reach out to the adjacent homeowners and simply say, Mr. Smith, it's Joe DeLeo calling. I just wanted to give you a quick courtesy shout this morning. You're probably aware a home just a couple of blocks away from your own sold last week. The market's dynamic and it's also low inventory. And I just wanted to ask very quickly, have you and your family thought about making a move anytime soon? Is there any data or information that we can get out to you? It's that simple. You will generate one qualified appointment for about every 20 to 25 contacts. So those are really the fundamental things. Nobody should be cold calling anymore. You've got the past clients and center of influence. Then you want to make sure that you're following up to some degree with a phone call. So you're leveraging all of this time, effort, and capital that you're spending getting that collateral out into the world, the blog post out into the world, the emails out into the world, etc. And then for the newer agents that just don't have a big base to start with, just listed, just sold calls are just a tremendous way to do it. And with that said, I know we're getting very low on time, and so I hope that was useful. It is. I will say it is. It's challenging to present when I don't have the opportunity to actually see y'all and talk back and forth. But I will promise you this: if anybody has any questions about what I just said, whether it be writing a business plan for 2018, if you don't have a business plan, please send Pat an email. We will get you a template of a 2018 business plan that has every single thing in there that you need. If you're not sure how to put together your prospect list and how to organize it, send us an email. We'll get you that information. And when it comes to the phone calls that I've just said, if you're not somebody that's Scripts and Dialogues oriented, if it's not something that's rehearsed for you, and you know that you will never get on the phone and reach out and make these connections unless you really are confident in what you're going to say and you are serving people and that you're not bothering them, reach out to us. I've got more scripts than I know what to do with. I mean, the scripts that are used by agents that are doing hundreds of deals a year, and we're happy to get them to you. And so with that said, I'm not sure if Pat's still on the phone or Jason or what's happening.
Joe, thank you very much for your time. First thing I'm going to ask you guys, just give me 2 more minutes and we'll wrap up, is talk to me, guys. Put a comment in. Did you like what Joe had to say? Was it helpful to you? That's the first thing I'd like to know. Just simply say yes if it is. And no, if it's not, And if anybody has a question, I can answer that as well. I don't have access to that, just so you know, to the screen. Okay, I can see the question. Okay. Yeah. So the second thing, can you guys hear me? All right. The second the second thing, okay, very good. So Sean said very good information. You know, Bill Shook said really like to get a copy of Joe's business plan and some scripts. Guys, scripting is so important. I couldn't imagine picking up the phone and not having scripts internalized. I literally couldn't imagine it. I would stink. If I didn't prepare for what I was going to say to you guys, I would stink. You know, most people don't prepare, and that's why they candidly don't pick up the phone. They don't feel, like Joe was saying, they don't feel confident enough because they have not practiced enough what they're going to say with a level of conviction that on a scale from 1 to 10 will shatter the emotion of the person on the other end of the phone in a positive light. Lee Dickinson says yes, and I'd love to see his ideas on business plan and making prospect lists. Kathy Sarmento said yes, I enjoyed refreshing fundamentals, his point of view. I'd love to see the business plan layout, always tweaking mine. So guys, I'm gonna offer you one thing, and it's something that is a partnership. It's you're all in, we're all in on this, okay? Again, I said this earlier in the call, and I did have some people respond with this, okay? Joe and I are planning on hitting a road in May, and we're going to be going out there around the country. I'm committed to doing it for at least a year, okay? Which I haven't done in 5 years. We would like to sit down with you and have dinner with you, predicated on the fact that we're going to do an event in your market. You're going to be at that event. You're going to help us, you know, with that event, etc. If that interests you, please do not respond if it's something that's not appealing to you. But you'll have a chance to meet Joe, to meet me. I know many of you have not met me. You met Brian. And call it a coaching session. You know, where you're getting some of the greatest minds in the business from technology and off technology or soft skill technology or soft skill skill sets, if you will, that are amongst the best, the top 1% out there. But we want to reach out to you next week and really talk about this event because it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be enormous. And we want to have dinner with you and sit down with you the night before and bring you to the event, potentially bring you on stage if you'd like a little stage time the next day. If that is something you're serious about, I don't care when it is, you know, if you got travel in May, June, whatever, some point in 2018, we can always talk about when it can be. But we will be in your market, and I would like to be there instead of having other people there. So you need to write the word event, because I'm not going to reach out to people that really just don't want that. So it has got to be a win-win, and we'll articulate that. I'll give you a call next week. We'll talk about what it is we're going to do. It's not going to cost you a dime to sit with us. We're going to actually, we're going to take you to dinner. So if that interests you, write the word event, guys. It's 12:06. I have got a client here at Harbor Hills that's been waiting for me. And I actually wasn't supposed to be on this call today, but I needed to be because of technology reasons and connectivity and so forth. So I will take the next, 2 minutes after we hang up and kind of read your comments and anything that Joe offered you that you guys wanted, we'll take down and we'll get to you. And anybody that wrote the word event down, we will discuss coming to your marketplace and doing a really rock solid event and having some dinner with you. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for joining me, Joe. Thank you very much for your time, guys. And we'll talk soon. Have a great rest of the day. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everybody. Go get it. Bye-bye.
See you, bud.